Today I will be talking about Lucene search engine, which is the software tool behind every search retrieval aspect of DSpace. In fact, DSpace documentation does not talk about what are all the search facilities that are available with DSpace, but a little closer look at DSpace, we know that they have used a search facility which is an Apache product and called Lucene. So, if you look into the Lucene documentation, definitely you can get what are all the search facilities Lucene provides, which automatically can be used without much ado in DSpace itself. So, the approach I have taken is I collected what are all the features of Lucene from Lucene documentation, not from DSpace documentation, and enumerated here. When I tested, all of them have worked smoothly in DSpace. So, a library normally should have this kind of a search facility, that is, it should allow word or phrase search, and it should allow truncation, and it should allow Boolean logic, it should allow phrase and proximity search, then relevance ranking, and of course, it should have the facility to browse the indexes. And you should recollect from the information retrieval theory, some of these features will increase recall, whereas some of these features will increase precision. And we know from the retrieval theory that precision and recall are inversely proportional. That means, if you attempt to increase more precision, the recall goes down. If you attempt to increase more recall, the precision goes down. This is typically the case with the truncation. So, truncation, as it is replaced by wildcards and they match with many unknown words, probably undesired words by the searcher. So, truncation always, whenever it is used, the recall will be increased, whereas the precision will go down. Similarly, in Boolean logic, if we apply Boolean operators and or not, or definitely increases the recall and decreases the precision, whereas and not will increase the precision. Okay. So, phrase search, so is the case. Instead of combining two words with Boolean operators, if you treat that as a phrase, probably the precision increases. So, relevance ranking, of course, of late many search engines will prefer to have what is the relevance of the document. So, in the order of relevance, higher the relevance, it will be displayed first. Now, another is consequently you have field level search. That means, if one wants to search by say I want publications of Einstein, that means I have to enter the word Einstein in the author or creator field. Then it retrieves documents only when the creator element has Einstein value. Otherwise, if you do not mention a field level search, it retrieves in the metadata wherever Einstein is there. So, it could be a document on Einstein. In fact, metadata is so refined, depending you can distinguish the searches between publications by Einstein or publications on Einstein. That means, if Einstein word appears either in the title or in abstract, perhaps you can safely assume that these are the works on Einstein. But if you find Einstein in the author field, then definitely it is a search by Einstein. So, case sensitive search should be there, but unfortunately many search engines do not support case sensitive search. That means they do not distinguish between World Health Organization WHO and from who, the interrogative word who. Then controlled vocabulary should support the search engine. That means if non-standard word is entered, the system should replace it by standard word. because probably the metadata was entered using a controlled vocabulary following mesh or agrovac or some kind of thesaurus. Then cross-lingual or multilingual retrieval. This is a fairly complex phenomena. First thing is multilingual retrieval. That means if the search term is in other than English language also, you should be able to retrieve. In our case where we use Lucene, probably many of the European languages we have search facility in European languages. Unfortunately, this is not the case with many of the Asian languages. Of course, in the sandbox of Lucene, Chinese searching, from morphological analysis is possible with Chinese, then they can retrieve. This is especially useful when you are trying to, the system should retrieve all related words. For example, if you enter manage, even if the document has management, manage, managing, it should retrieve. So, word variants can only be retrieved when you have language analyzers. So, we hope soon, I think Lucene would be supporting Hindi language analyzers. So, date and range search also it should support. That means if I want to limit publications of somebody from so and so date to so and so or on a particular date, I want all the publications in the last 5 years on semantic web. So, probably I may give if the date is greater than or equal to 2011, those search engine should support. So, DSpace uses Lucene to facilitate search. Lucene was developed by Doug Cutting sometime in 1997-98. Now, Lucene search engine is part of Apache Jakarta project. So, now it is Apache Foundation which is maintaining the Lucene, and it is developed in Java, but you have other language Lucene search engines also. So, let us see what are the advantages, probably what enticed DSpace developers to go for Lucene and embed it in DSpace system. It requires a small RAM requirement, that is even 1 MB heap sized system is fine. It has incremental indexing as fast batch indexing. This is very, very important for the simple reason, some of the search engines like MG2 search engine which was used in Greenstone Digital Repository did not support incremental indexing. That is the reason whenever you add a document or delete a document, you have to rebuild the collection and re-index the collection. Whereas as Lucene supports incremental indexing, whenever you add, only that metadata will be indexed and put it into the present search engine. That is, it updates the index rather than building the index from scratch. Of course, now Greenstone supports Lucene also. So, that shows how popular Lucene is. So, indexes roughly 20 to 30% the size of the text of the file. Cross platform to solution, you can run it Lucene on many platforms, whether Windows or Linux. Available as open source, this is even more important. And Lucene is available in other languages like C, PHP, Ruby, Delphi, Perl, Python, Lisp. So, Lucene is really a versatile search engine. Advantages of Lucene, it allows ranked searching, best results returned first. So, uses ranking algorithms on the resultant retrieved sets, and most relevant would appear first. Advanced query facilities, as we have seen, some of the ideal search engine facilities like field level search, proximity and other things are supported in Lucene. You can sort by any field, the output also can be sorted by any field. This in fact was taken into DSpace. So, that is why when retrieved items are displayed by author, title, date, you can resort them by any of those fields. So, flexible faceting, highlighting, normally whenever you make a search in the document, you should highlight the word you have entered so that you know in what context the word appeared, and perhaps it gives you a clue to decide, okay, the word appeared in this context, that means it is more relevant to me, and it appeared in an unknown context means it is not relevant to me. Okay. So, fast memory efficient, then typographical tolerant. That means one of the problems with English language, of course, I jokingly say until you die you have to keep learning the spelling system of the English language, okay, because that is why you can come across the movements like spell as you pronounce, pronounce as you spell. Then multilingual query support. Lucene right now supports many languages like Danish, Dutch, English, Finnish, French, German, Italian, Norwegian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish and Swedish. Like that, so many language support is there for Lucene. There are many popular applications which use Lucene search engine. It is not only DSpace is the only one which uses Lucene. In fact, America Online uses it, Twitter uses it, LinkedIn uses it, Eclipse uses, FedEx uses. So, actually using Lucene, on the top of Lucene, recently of course another Apache project was developed called Solr, which is a high performance search server built using Lucene core. So, Lucene core is the search mechanism, whereas as Lucene is only a software tool, you have to embed it in some other software, whereas Solr can be a search server and can be run independently. So, search facilities in Lucene. So, we will go into each of the facilities provided by Lucene. One is exact term search, that is if you enter information, wherever the word information appears in the metadata irrespective of the element, it gets retrieved. So, naturally it is not a very refined search, but anyhow to begin with many people may enter just a search word. Then phrase search. So, this is called, for example, if you put 2 words or 3 words which is a phrase, if you do not put quotes, it is not a phrase. That means by default in DSpace you can decide if more than 1 or 2 words appear without quotes, whether by default you have to treat them with Boolean AND or Boolean OR, you can decide that. I think by default it is AND, but you can change its behavior. But again, if you do not want any Boolean operators to be used between 2 or 3 words in a phrase, you have to put them in quote and unquote, so that is treated as one term which is a phrase. Then if you use the symbol plus, that is compulsory term search, that means if you enter library science, that means the word library should be there. For example, in your configuration you have considered if more than one word is there, use Boolean OR. Okay. In that case, the retrieval could be if the document contains either library or science, it retrieves, but here we are trying to tell no, the document should contain the word library, whether science is there or not is secondary importance to me. That is the way we emphasize by adding a plus, that is a preceding plus to the word, we say this word should appear, or exclude, this is nothing but Boolean not. So, to exclude a term we use a minus. For example, planning minus management, that means the documents having the word planning, but it should not contain the word management. If that is there, I do not want. That means the document should deal exclusively with the planning without any management aspect. Then field search. So, if that means I want to search for a word only when it appears in a particular field. For example, if I enter author Java, that means Java should appear in author field, otherwise I do not want that document. If Java appears in, say for example, either title or abstract, still I do not want it. That means I am trying to really refine and narrow down my search so that I achieve more precision. So, title colon web, that means the title should have the word web, or if I say keyword colon OCR, that means in the list of subject keywords the word OCR should appear. For example, handle text colon 13 brings the document having the handle number 13 in the result. Or if I say abstract colon digital, that means abstract should contain the word digital. Like that, you can really mention a field level search and narrow down your search results to achieve more precision. Then wildcards. Wildcards always result in lot of recall. So, if you use question mark, it is used for a single character. That is, if you enter TE question mark T, it matches with words like test, text, tent, etc. That means only the third letter can be any letter. Okay. That means any document having one of these words where the first character is T, second character is E and fourth character is T, it brings it. Okay. Then you have even more wilder wild card, that is the star, is used for multiple characters matching, as in if I say inf and star, it matches with the information informatics. Say for example, if I enter chem and star, it matches with chemistry, chemical, chemo, therapy, everything it matches. That is why using wildcards sometimes results in unpredictable output, and it is really increases the recall. Probably you have to search for a needle in a haystack in the output. I always feel one of the weaknesses of the web search engines is they emphasize more on recall. In a typical search on a web search engine, sometimes you get 2 lakhs output or 3 lakhs output, and nobody really goes to all the 2-3 lakhs pages. Probably he may go through maximum 2 pages, rarely the third page. For me, though it recalled 2 lakhs pages, it is as good as recalling only 3 pages. Of course, luckily if they use ranking algorithm, probably first 2-3 pages have most relevant and the rest of the 90 or odd pages may be having completely irrelevant matches. So, my feeling is when plethora of information is available on the web, we should emphasize more on the precision, not on recall. Fuzzy search, it uses Levenshtein distance algorithm, also called edit distance algorithm, that is a measure of similarity between 2 strings. In fact, fuzzy search is used in many instances. That is, in case of plagiarism also it is used to detect how similar 2 pieces of distinct text. So, the distance is the number of deletions and insertions or substitutions required to transform one string to string 1 to string 2. For example, if you enter Shankar and tilde, that is approximately this is the spelling, probably I am not sure of the spelling. So, it can match with Shankar also and Shankar also, that is SANKER, SHANKER also it matches, because by adding H probably it is matching with a few more words. So, somebody enters information SION, it can match with TION, or video, it can match with the VIDEO. That means by replacing E with I, it finds there is a word which matches with this. This is especially useful when people are not sure of the spelling. So, it can take care of the spelling mistakes, but again it increases recall. Okay. and especially in case of proper names of people, we know people spell their names in different ways in different regions. Sharada or SHA or SA. Many people are Ashoka, some people ASO, or some people say ASHO. Then proximity search. It is used to retrieve documents that have two words or phrases in proximity. We know the word proximity we use, oh, he is proximity to power. He is in proximity to power means he is a very powerful guy, knows big guys in politically powerful guys. So, here in our example, if I give information systems as a phrase and put a tilde and 3, that means that there can be at most 3 words in between the word information and system. So, it matches with the decision support system, a tool for information. You can see system, a tool for are the 3 words in between information. That means system can appear first, it need not be in the same order as information system where information appeared first. As long as these 2 words are at a distance of 3 words, maximum of 3 words, it retrieves. Thesaurus in automated information retrieval. You can see that information retrieval, system retrieval is the only word that appeared in between. International Nuclear Information System, of course, they are adjacent words. Range search. Range in fact normally is used for years, that is publications published between 1990 or 1995. Like that we use, or publications after 95, like that we use. But Lucene allows even range search in author fields or the words, suppose Prasad to Rao. So, all documents, if I say author colon, that means the author field should contain all the words where Prasad and Rao occur in the author field. And if you put braces, replace these square brackets with braces, it says exclude Prasad and Rao, but in between all the names which start with other than Prasad and Rao should be retrieved. So, boosting a term. How to boost? That is, if I want to emphasize some term, some document should deal with a particular subject more than the other topic. That is, if I give internet and with a boost of 5 and web, that means the word internet should appear at least 5 times more than the word web appearing in the document. That means probably the document is dealing more with internet than web alone. Higher the boost factor, more relevant is the term will be for the search result. By default, the boost factor is 1. That means if you enter just internet web, okay, both have equal weightage. Then Boolean, we know that fairly many of us are familiar with the Boolean operators, for example, and or not. Or you can use the symbols also. Instead of A and D, you can use 2 ampersands or 2 pipe symbols for R. So, not of course you can use either exclamation mark or in the first example we have shown the minus mark. So, library science and information science, or library science or information science, and not also. Group search, this is a tricky affair. When you combine words with Boolean operators, sometimes you may get unexpected results, but by default and operator takes priority. But if you want to force the system, no, I want R operator to take more priority. That means if we group them, interactive resources or e-learning objects should appear, one of the words, plus geography should appear in the document. Otherwise, what happens is the interactive learning objects and geography will appear. Then fielded search with grouping. So, you can use the grouping of the terms with a limitation title colon, and you are used a phrase search here and also a Boolean operator, and you have grouped them also. So, here we have used field level, phrase search, grouping and Boolean, almost about 4 techniques of the search facilities we have used. Now, searching and browsing, DSpace allows searching and browsing by you can search the entire DSpace, or you can limit your search to a community or a collection, or you can limit your search to a title or author or date. So, Lucene is a search library built in Java, and Solr is the application built on top of Lucene. So, nowadays I think people have confusion that Lucene is DSpace has not dealing anymore with Lucene, which is not the case. In fact, if you are using Solr means you are using Lucene with added features. So, Apache Lucene is a high performance featured text search engine and written entirely in Java. It is a technology suitable for nearly any application that requires full text searches. So, lot of contributed modules like spell checkers, highlights are available with Lucene. It is widely used in many of the open source projects. There are lot more detailed derivatives also, search products available on top of Lucene. Incremental updates, whenever new documents are added, index gets updated. This is one of the greatest advantages of Lucene. So, Solr uses Lucene search library at its core for full text indexing and search, and also has REST like HTML, HTTP XML and JSON APIs. In summary, to get more control, use Lucene. For faster development, easy to learn, choose Solr. Okay. So, but again, if you are using Solr means you are using Lucene also. So, with that we conclude our Lucene search facilities.